Hey everybody, here's an interesting article that happened in history way back in 1800s, after the Civil War. And I thought it was interesting. This is on the actual United States Senate .gov's website or whatever. So this is actual United States history. This is the Secretary of the Senate. This would be the Senate Majority Leader, basically. Listen to this nice little article. Confederate General becomes Secretary of the Senate. That is the actual title of the article. August 7th, 1893. In the several decades that followed the Civil War, the Democratic Party, long associated with the states of the former Confederacy. Do you hear that? The Southern Confederate States were run by the Democrat Party. That's what it literally says. Let's keep going on. Struggled to restore its standing as a national political organization. After the Civil War was ended, the Democrat Party was almost gone. They almost lost and were no longer existed. After the 1892 elections, many Democrats believed they had finally succeeded in those contests for the first time since the war. They did not get it took them till the Democratic Party, it took till 1892 before they got a majority after the Civil War. Think about that. For the first time since the war, they captured the presidency and gained control of both houses of Congress. That would be Senate and the House of Representatives. Symbolizing their return to national power, Senate Democrats replaced the incumbent Secretary of the Senate, which was a former Union Army general. I wish it would tell us who that was so we could look that one up, but it didn't. With a former Confederate general. Listen to the guy. His name was William Ruffin Cox. In the late 1850s, North Carolina native William Ruffin Cox actively encouraged the states of the Old South to secede from the Union. A prosperous lawyer, he studied military tactics and, at his own expense, equipped a light artillery battery. When war came, he organized and led a Confederate infantry company, his own that he financed. During the May 1863 Chancellorsville campaign, this guy probably owned slaves, Cox lost 3/4 of his regiment in just 15 minutes of fighting. In June 1864, he accompanied General Jubal Early on a raid designed to capture Washington. They reached Silver Spring, Maryland, the closest threat to the capital of any rebel unit, before withdrawing in the face of superior forces. So he was a Democrat. The Democrats were the ones who backed the South and tried to create a civil war. Succeeded in creating a civil war, and they lost. The Democrats are the ones trying to create civil unrest and a civil war today. Side note. The Democrats started the first Civil War and tried to change America. The Democrats are going to trying to start the second Civil War with this race war and stuff going on and trying to change America. They tried with the Confederacy and failed. Now they're going to try with this. Hopefully they'll fail this one. Anyway, That's just all I know. Now let's get back to the article. After the war, William Cox returned home to Raleigh, North Carolina. He resumed his law practice. You gotta watch out for these lawyers. Even Lincoln was a lawyer. I don't like lawyers. Don't trust too many lawyers. A lot of them, they'll twist the Constitution, they'll twist the laws or whatever to their way of thinking. Yeah. And joined former secessionists. So not only did he go back, but he joined other secessionists. What were these secessionists doing? Listen here. In organizing a political faction that eventually restored the Democratic rule in North Carolina. So he went back and hanged out with former secessionists, which would have been considered treason, traitors, etc., to the United States of America, former Confederates, and they got him and the other groups got North Carolina back under Democratic control, the Democrat Party. He represented North Carolina's district in the U.S. House of Representatives from 1881 to 1887. On April 6, 1893, during a brief Senate special session, so this is a special session, called to confirm cabinet nominees in Cleveland's second administration. That would be Grover Cleveland, his second administration, not his first. So his re-election, basically. The new Democratic majority, which must have won midterm elections, I would say, because that's how our Constitution works. Anyway, they selected Cox as Secretary of the Senate. Republican senators, on the other hand, not yet reconciled to their new minority status, immediately objected to the plan that would allow Cox, along with the Democratic candidates for Sergeant at Arms and Chaplain. Because back in the day, well, they still have one, but it used to be a lot of a bigger deal because they actually had a chaplain. The Senate has a chaplain. They still have one, but it's not as big a deal now. Back then, it used to be an actual bigger of a deal. To take office at once, the Republicans contended that it was not the practice of the Senate to change its officers during these short special sessions. Again, this is the Democrat Party doing something that during a special session that they don't normally do. Really. Who does that? The Democrat Party. They still do it. They did it way back then. Anytime they get power, they're going to try to call a special session and get something done that is part of their agenda. Yeah.
That's when you do special assignments.
While noting that only 4 individuals have served as secretary during the Senate's first 72 years. A Republican leader acknowledged. See, because the Republicans, when we know that we're beat, we acknowledge that we're beat, pretty much. He said, a new order of things has come, and we on this side of the chamber recognize it fully and bow to the inevitable. He admitted that he was beat. They're beat. Their hands are tied. They couldn't do anything. That's basically. The Senate then agreed that the new officers would not begin their terms until the start of the upcoming regular session. So they conceded a little bit by saying, okay, he won't start immediately, basically. When the Senate convened for that session on August 7th, 1893, Cox took his oath of office, a man of striking physical appearance, cultural, and courtly. Cox carried out his Senate responsibilities with acceptance and distinction. So, apparently he did a good job as it. Both Republicans and Democrats alike agreed that he did a fairly decent job of it. But back in 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, we had more statesmen than politicians. So he probably was more of a statesman anyway. When the Republicans regained the Senate majority just 2 years later, it only took them 2 years. See, because it keeps switching back and forth. We elect during the midterms happen every 2 years. I mean, the whole entire side can switch in every 2 years, and it almost does because of the midterm election system that we have. Party leaders agreed to keep him in office. That's why I'm saying he must have been a pretty decent guy. Still, former traitor, former secessionist, former Confederate General, Democrat. This decision owed much to the general nature, but even more to the political realities of the Republican caucus. They were sharply divided on larger policies issues. So this was a small thing that wasn't really there. Finally, in 1900s, a strengthened Republican caucus decided to make a change, and the 69-year-old Cox retired. This is actually Senate Historical Office information provided by the Senate Historical Office. Questions about Senate history, you can email the Senate historian. The biographical directory, there's a directory that provides information about former and current senators. It's all at the United States Senate.gov. So, for all these people are bringing up the Confederacy, bad, evil, blah, 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 represents racism. Well, the Confederacy was controlled and run by Democrats for the most part. And when they got out of power, all these Confederates, former secessionists, have all already been pardoned. And they already admitted they won't take up arms against the United States again. So they didn't take up arms against the United States again. But some of them got in office, political offices. And they helped the Democratic Party get back to being the Democratic Party. And that's how they used their political power to take arms against the United States again. Through politics. Because the pen is mightier than the sword. Or the political pen that can write a law is mightier than the military arm that can fire a gun in this case. So that is a historical truth of something that happened. So all you black Democrats out there, Black Lives Matter, crazy people going all tearing down statues, y'all need to look up some history and y'all can figure out and learn some truth. This is just one little snippet of history. There are plenty of more occasions of stuff like this happening. This is just a snippet. He got the highest office in the Senate you can get as a Democrat. Former traitor, secessionist, Confederate. That created and financed his own army. Okay? Y'all want to erase history. Why do you think they want to erase history? They want to erase history because they don't want you to learn about snippets of information like this. They don't want you to they want you to think everything that the Confederacy did was evil, bad, or wrong. Well, maybe it's because the party, the Democratic Party, don't want you to find out some stuff and truths about their what they did and how they created the Confederacy and how they were trying to overthrow the United States government and how they're trying to do the same thing today. The parties didn't change. Parties have never changed. No matter how much they try to claim that the parties switched sides. No, they didn't. They never switched sides. They've never switched sides. Democrat Party's still up to the same old tricks that they were back then, that they are today. The reason why the Democrat Party wants to fool you black people into believing the Confederacy was evil is because they don't want you to find out, do some research, and look it up, and study, and find out for yourself that the Democrats were the slave owners. The Democrats were the ones who created the Confederacy, and the Democrats were the ones who tried to overthrow the United States government. Now, I can throw in the idea that I have thrown in and thrown up the idea that the South was right constitutionally. Yes, they were. There's plenty of other people who will throw out that at you. But there is a alternative motive for why the Democrat Party wants black people to think the Confederacy was wrong. Or that it was all about slavery. And while they want to condition the black people into believing lies, false truths, and not wanting them to actually look up and discover the real truth behind it. Anyway, remember, God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. Keep on gaming. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And you'll find out some good stuff if you actually study history. This is actually in the United States government's website. So, I mean, there's some people out there that might try to go, well, it's the United States government website. We can't trust their history. They've been making records since the founding of the country, when the first Congress was held, when the first Senate was held. Yeah, we can trust their writings. Especially when it comes to congressional hearings, congressional writings, Senate hearings, Senate writings. They wrote things down. They've been writing things down. They still write things down. So, while this is just a little snippet article, it don't tell you the full story of everything. It tells you the basics. This is still history. You could probably find out even more. It sends you more links to other things. Like, even at the very top, it has a thing right here where you can find your senator. Or you can search up here about different things. There's a picture of the guy right here. I'm pretty sure if I press the button, it does show you a bigger picture. It does. You can even watch live floor proceedings on this thing. This is William Ruffin Cox, Democrat, North Carolina. There's his image right there. That's how everybody dressed back then. Suits, nice, didn't matter who. He doesn't look that bad of a guy. I'm not saying he was a bad guy. I'm not saying he wasn't a bad guy. I'm just giving you true historical facts of the nature. Hey, look, my head's covering up his head now. Hey, how do I look in that suit? Comment down below. Anyway, remember, God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. Keep on gaming. Keep on collecting. Keep on studying history. And all that good stuff. And have a great day. Like, comment, subscribe, share. And I hope y'all enjoy this little historical fact. Someone sent me the link, and I liked it, so I had to share it. It's at www.senate.gov. Just look up William Ruffin Cox. I mean, if you don't believe what I'm showing you and want to look it up yourself. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Later.